collaborative. So links for you to look into later. And just giving some examples of projects that we've done that align with this new direction that we've identified for health and care. We've just submitted, with Public Health Wales as the lead applicant, a big grant application for research for public and patient benefits to run a 3-year social prescribing project. And this builds on something I'm going to talk about more in depth in a minute, which is the pilot that we're just completing. So that's in conjunction with Public Health Wales, Aberystwyth University, where Prytherch, Rhys Thatcher, is working on that with us, Bangor University, who are bringing the healthy economist specialisation to the table, and ourselves. We're also developing a community resilience project, and this is the link I told you about Cerhr. What they've done is develop a toolkit for other communities to replicate what they've done there that's working so successfully for them. And they want to pilot that in Mid-Wales. They want to ideally pilot it in 2 places. One is we're looking for a community that matches, not exactly, but very closely, the makeup of Cerhr, which has only a population of 800. It's a tourist destination. It has a lot of empty houses in the winter. I'm thinking both there, but it could be Llangrannog, it could be Cerhr. So we're trying to link a project that will look at one community very similar to Cerhr, and one community maybe like Tregaron that's slightly different in that it's more of a resident population and it's not tourism heavy, and it's also got a lot of people that have grown up there, whereas in Cerhr you get a lot of people who have moved into the area from their retirement. So that's the project under development. I thought Sunita might be here, but I understand she's not well, so there's some of the carer students here. We've been supporting Sunita and she's doing a project as one of the modules, looking at loneliness, but not just from an elderly perspective, but from a student perspective. So it's linking the 2 generations, we're working with the Students' Union, trying to get students to interact with, I'm not allowed to say elderly because I was wrapped on enough as to saying it. It's people over 50, believe it or not. Which doesn't sound very old to me. And to try and link them to address loneliness issues, because people recognise that the elderly face loneliness, but likewise there's a growing evidence base that students or people between the age of 14 and 30 are hugely impacted by loneliness, but maybe aren't so vocal about it. So it's trying to address that, which is quite an interesting project. So I'm going to talk about the 2 projects that are highlighted below. I'm going to play another film which explains, does anybody here know what social prescribing is? Right, so hopefully at the end of this little clip you will, if it works. Basically, instead of medical prescribing, and they say in the term social prescribing still medicalises it, whereas trying to find an alternative has proven a bit of a headache. But it's in terms of, they reckon at least 20% of people who visit GPs don't attend because of purely medical reasons, they're social reasons. There's some GPs in the audience, you might be able to support that or not. But that research is recognised nationally, internationally. So what we did in Prytherch, you might have noticed that map and they had all these activities, and you might have noticed there's a big barren piece in the middle, which is where we are. So we're trying to kind of run out some projects here to see if they do actually work, to build that robust evidence that's going to then mainstream these kind of services into the national health. And when we did, it was a 6-month project that we ran with Public Health Wales and Warrow here at the university. Sue Fisher's GP cluster was involved, or federation, and we employed a link worker to undertake the role of social prescriber. So the GP would refer their patients that came to them, not necessarily for medical reasons, say they were lonely, they had depression, maybe sleep issues, anxiety, and then they would work with the link worker and look at what's already existing in the community. Maybe the link worker would go with them and introduce them to social groups or activities that were freely available that they could join into for their own benefit, for their well-being benefit. The research is currently being written up in that, but the report will be available shortly. So again, if anybody's interested in seeing that report, then drop your details down on the table at the back. As a result of that, we have put in for that large grant that I mentioned earlier, the Research for Public and Patient Benefit, to try and run this project out across Ceredigion and Powys and to involve a lot more people. This is one of the newsletters that the link worker developed partway through the project. So this was done in October. You can see that we received 17, sounds very small scale, like I said, it was very much a very small pump priming pilot project. So 17 referrals were received from 5 GP practices in North Ceredigion. But they were referred to 35 different community activities and groups. So, you know, the range of where people can get involved is quite extensive. There's 2 resources that you should refer to, which is Info Engine and Dewis, but also local on-the-ground knowledge is vital because what's available changes all the time. So these are some of the referral kind of streams that went. If anybody wants to find out more, like I said, just leave your name at the back. We can supply you with more information. The second project I'm going to talk about is looking at young people and inactivity and obesity, which can, as you know, lead to health issues later in life. So child obesity is on the increase, and in Wales the figures are in fact higher than they are in England. So Ceredigion Wellbeing Plan identified 23.2% of all, so that's nearly a quarter of every 4 to 5-year-olds as being overweight. And it's been proven that overweight children do tend to become overweight adults, and they have associated health issues. So this project really was developed with the main aim of trying to encourage people to embrace physical activity, and instead of decrying, you know, the use of mobile phones and iPads, we were trying to latch onto that as an incentive for them to embrace outdoor activity. You'll always get a core element who do like keeping fit, like outdoor activities, and they will be going to the gym and they will be joining team sports and be down a rugby club or netball. But you do have another cohort who are physically inactive, and PE in schools is not as prevalent when you get to secondary schools as it is in primary, for example. So the way we were doing this was to, or we are hopefully going to do this, fingers crossed, is to encourage physical activity by engaging with the use of mobile devices. So at present we're in the consultation phase of linking with secondary schools across Ceredigion and youth clubs to try and ascertain would people use what you've got there, static bikes at the bottom, these static bikes to charge their mobile phones or mobile devices. It's a free provision. We don't want them sited alongside gyms because if people are going to the gym anyway, they're going to be doing physical activities. These are more intended to be placed on the promenade Aberystwyth, for example, in Tregaron on the square, or in Lampeter town centre, or on the green in Aberavon. You know, places that are easily accessible where people might be in town running out of battery. And then it's been proven once people start doing physical activity, because somebody said to me, why aren't you encouraging them to use their mobile devices? But once they engage in physical activity, they might, you know, it improves their well-being. So it's very much in its infancy, this project. There's a 3-month consultation which is ending next month. And it's questionnaire and focus groups. So we're saying, would you use these? Where would you like them sited? Would you like one bike in isolation? Or would you like 3 alongside each other? So it could be a social event. And which ones do you prefer? Now the different ones have different properties. This is It can be used by wheelchair users, for example. There's some people like a recumbent one, and then the traditional stand-up one. It has additional environmental benefits because it's generating green electricity, and it's opening a dialogue about physical activity, being outdoors, making use of green spaces we've got here in rural affairs. Days yet. I think I've gone through all of this. What else? Play for you. I don't know what time it is. Am I running over? Okay, I'm just going to show you a little tip so you can understand what these power bikes are, because people say to me, oh, it's difficult to envisage. What we've got is a power gym, a green gym, that I'm going to show you a clip of. I'll only play part way through it, and we can stop. But you can get an idea of the type of exercise bike that we're trying to advocate. And again, we're not operational, we're not going to be, it isn't our remit to go and set these bikes that's across the whole of rural areas of May. What we're doing is piloting something that could then be mainstreamed.
We decided to do green energy gyms is we thought it was just so strange that people would go to the gym, burn off energy, but yet we've got an energy crisis. We've got a renewable form of energy, it's called people power, and green energy gyms is a brilliant way to get fit and also help the planet. Depending on how fit the user is, the average person will be generating between 50 and 100 watts, which is a really good amount of electricity and power to be generating.
If you want to know more about those bikes, obviously you'll have the link there, you can go onto their website. So you can spit out an idea of the type of equipment, and what they set up there was an outdoor gym for a school. So it's not going to be similar to that in terms of that we're going to try and have these bikes in common areas that aren't necessarily linked to gyms or linked to schools. They will be standalone items. These are just some of the infographics that are being developed. Again, if you want more information, you can send you details. So I'll just summarise, because our talk was going to be today about new ways of living well and keeping healthy in rural Midwest. And I suppose the main message that I wanted to give is that, is this new ethos of moving from a dependent population, dependent on the medical and healthcare professions, to becoming more resilient within yourselves as individuals, but also in your social groups and communities. And for us rurally, that's also embracing our natural environment, because we mustn't forget our well-being, because your well-being impacts as much as on your health as your physical factors. We've got strong communities, there's a lot of innovative practices. If you do get a chance, go and have a look at what's presented at the conference, because there's so much going on, it's incredible. And our environment. Then bronchitis, I don't know if you've all been involved in the transformation issues that are all going on, but Bronchitis District General Hospital is very much identified as crucial to the area, and its importance to the people of the area has been identified. Building on that, the importance of the community hospitals that at one stage were going to be got rid of. Now it's all about community hospitals and local care centres and local communities taking a role in well-being. And there's so many initiatives going on to develop closer integration between health and care. So we shouldn't see them as separate providers of health and care services, that now that everything should be amalgamated. So areas to develop digital skills within the workforce to embrace these digital provision. The Welsh language. At the moment we're trying to get staff into the area, but eventually, ideally, we need staff that speak Welsh, particularly for patients with dementia who may revert to their native language if they've grown up in Mid Wales, and flexible career pathways, because career pathways have been identified as being crucial to attracting people to move to rural Mid Wales.